Hey everyone, I'm Gene Valicenti. This is Beyond the Podium, where we go one-on-one with the candidates. My guest today, Helena Foulkes, Democrat running for governor of Rhode Island. Helena, thanks for coming in. Let's get right to question number one. In your own words, what differentiates you from your opponents?
Well, I'm not a career politician. I was born and raised in Rhode Island, and I came back after school and started working in a cubicle at CVS and spent 25 years rising through the ranks and tackling really hard problems. I think the thing that differentiates me is that we're going into probably a very tough period economically in the next few years in Rhode Island. People are worried about gas prices and the future. And I really know how to manage big, complicated things. I led 200,000 people. I had an $80 billion budget that I managed. So I know how to get things done in a tough economic environment. I think contrast that, Secretary Gorbea has proposed raising taxes on small businesses. I think that's the last thing we should do at this time. And the governor, unfortunately, is under many investigations. We rank 45 out of 50 in business climate. And I think that we need a leader who will hold herself accountable and get the big things done in the state of Rhode Island.
Question two, explain what you see as the most important issue facing Rhode Island.
I think the number one issue right now is the education system for our kids. Our kids have just really struggled coming out of COVID. We know that only 33% of them pass their reading grade level tests and 20% in math. So I am the candidate with the most comprehensive plans around this. People can go look at helenafoulkes.com to see what I proposed. But I think even more importantly, I will hold myself accountable. What I promise people is that if I don't get our kids' scores back up above where they were before all of this started, before COVID, I won't run again. And I do think that Rhode Islanders need to have a governor who will hold herself accountable and really make sure that we're serving the needs of our kids in Rhode Island.
But how are you uniquely qualified to address these issues? You as Helena Foulkes, uniquely qualified.
Well, I think that I am a really good leader. I know how to attract great talent. You can ask anyone who worked with me over my career. I led 200,000 people in an $80 billion budget. And I think the most important thing a governor can do is attract the best talent around her and make sure that we're tackling the problems that Rhode Islanders really care about. And I think that's what makes me uniquely qualified.
Example of a policy or issue that you have changed your view or changed your mind on in the last 20 years. In other words, I felt one way on this, now I feel differently. Does anything come to mind?
I think that, for me, I was very, very much in the middle of healthcare in my career. And early in my career, people weren't struggling the way they are today in terms of paying for healthcare. Just the cost of medicine, everything was very different. Mm-hmm. So I think the place I probably evolved the most was being involved in Obamacare and watching as so many people, I came to realize so many people needed the help of the federal government. And I think it's really important that this is a place where the government is jumping in to solve a problem that can't be solved from the private sector perspective and working with a lot of different players and ultimately serving the needs of everyone in this country. And we need to do more of that at the federal level, really making sure that we're tackling the problems of people in this country.
Question you wish someone would ask you?
Well, I guess one thing that I will tell you is oftentimes when people read about me, they say, oh, you were a big corporate executive. What do you really like? And I guess what I would say to people is, I think I was successful in my career because I have a big heart. I know how to inspire people. I know how to attract people. I know how to help them grow as individuals. And I think that's what leadership is all about. It's really about serving people. And so sometimes people have an image of a corporate leader in an office barking orders. Mm-hmm. And I think my style of leadership is very different than that.
A political hero, and why?
Well, I guess it would probably be FDR. I think that he led at a time that was just such a crisis for this country. I think he surprised many people. He made tough decisions. He showed the important role government can play in lifting people up. He was tenacious. He was also warm and empathetic. And so I learned a lot of lessons from FDR.
Finally, what is the best advice you've ever received?
The best advice I've ever received is that you have to really give before you can receive. And so as I've built relationships in my life, I think one of the reasons I've built good relationships, both personally and professionally, is that people know they can trust me. And it's based on this foundation of listening really hard and understanding how I can help them as much as they can help me.